it's Maryanne. Welcome to another episode of The Influential Nonprofit. I'm your host. I work with nonprofit leaders to grow their influence so they can get the most out of themselves and everyone around them. And today I'm going to be talking about understanding and honoring the mindset of the people that you're with, whether in one-on-one or in a small group. Let me start with a couple stories. Now, about a year ago, maybe a little bit, my family and I decided that we were going to go on a vacation at the end of 2022, sometime in the fall. There's a few things that I know this is going to sound so weird, but I cannot speak about publicly pending litigation. I know that sounds so heavy, but it's true. That happened to my family last year. That was very difficult. And so we thought we wanted to go on a vacation. My family, however, is a little bit complicated. We are who we are. And I have three kids, and I'm white, my husband's white, but my kids are Black, they're adopted. And my oldest is trans, and my youngest is autistic, nonverbal. So us going on vacation, we just have some, things that I want to consider. And I reached out to a travel agent we'd used in the past, said, I'm looking for all-inclusive and all-inclusive. And the choice of a resort was really important to us because no one needs mama bear coming on a vacation. All right. And I reached out to her and I said, I'd love to talk with you about, a resort you'd recommend and like kind of price ranges and things like that. And she comes back with not just a resort, but dates and flights and if you just give me your passport numbers. And I was like, whoa, wait, hold on, what? We weren't ready to pay for this trip. I wasn't ready to. And I said, we're not ready to book right now. I said, I was asking you for some overall information for us to start the process of decision making. And she said, well, if you don't book right now, you're going to lose these rooms. I said, then we'll lose the rooms. We are not in a position to book right now. So then, I took her information and we talked about it. And then I went back and we made some decisions and we did book for a few weeks after the original time that she was looking at. And we booked the trip and we actually had a lovely time. But I remember feeling like she really wasn't hearing me in where I was in the decision-making process. Now, I say this all the time. People will buy to the level they feel seen and heard. Your job is to not pitch, sell, convince. Your job is to help people feel seen and heard. That's it. And if you do that, they will relax and they will feel seen and heard, and they will be open to what you have to say. When people don't feel seen and heard, like I was in that illustration, they get frustrated and they tend to dig in a little deeper in the position that they're at because they're not trusting that you understand their needs. Now, I will tell you another story of which I was the person that didn't read the room. Had a great conversation with someone who was a friend of someone who had took my influence course. I really loved this person. I thought she would be an excellent addition to the cohort that I was forming. And she was, said perfect things to me, like, how can I have more of you? And things like that, that indicated to me that this was going to be a wonderful relationship. She needed to check a few things out, which is totally fine. I booked a follow-up call and I was going to enroll her in that call. And I was really excited to enroll her in that call. When I got on the call, well, first of all, I got on the Zoom and she wasn't there. Now, typically I would have sent an email, and said, hey, are we still on? But this time I called her and I said, hey, because honestly, I really wanted to enroll her. I said, hey, we're supposed to be on a Zoom call. And she's like, oh, I totally forgot. Our kitchen flooded, a pipe burst. This is a mess, blah, blah, blah. Everything's crazy. Said, oh my goodness, da, da, da. And then I tried to move the conversation back to my course. Well, do you still want to enroll? Tell me what you're thinking. And it was just awkward. It was awkward. It was like two ships, right? And when I was in it, I wasn't conscious of it. And when I got off the phone, of course, she didn't enroll. And when I got off the phone, I was like, that didn't feel good. Huh. Now what I did do, instead of trying to fix it or apologize, I sat with it for the weekend. Like, why didn't that feel good? What was going on there? And I realized, because I'm not perfect, right? Sometimes I don't heed my own wisdom, that I ignored her mindset. She was struggling. She was in a difficult place, and I didn't honor that. And I tried to bypass it and get done what I wanted to get done, not what, she needed. And it didn't go well. So that Monday, once I realized what had happened, I sent her an email and I said, and I made her a little video and like a little Loom video. And I said, you know, you taught me so much because I didn't honor the place that you were at. I was trying to push past it, which is exactly what I coach people not to do. And if I had that call to do over again, what I would have done is set my agenda aside and just take a minute with you and maybe do some breathing exercises or a quick little meditation or a little mantra I could give you to give you a new perspective, maybe reset some energy for you and then just let you go. Knowing like if that she felt seen and heard in that moment, she probably would have come back to me when she was ready. But because she didn't feel seen and heard, I broke some pretty big rapport. But it was weird because in the moment, I really wasn't conscious of what I was doing. It wasn't until after that I had some contemplation time that I realized. But sometimes we get really excited because we want to work with somebody or we want to close a deal or we want to get a gift. And despite our training, we might just not connect. So it's really important to honor the mindset of your listener. And in my experience, there's four major mindsets that you are going to encounter. There's no, go, slow, go, and glow. So no is struggle, right? My friend was in struggle. The kitchen flooded. It was crazy. Blah. Now she's stressed about money and da 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 da. That's a struggle. And what people in struggle want is they want an energetic reset. And you can honor their struggle without getting involved. Again, we don't have to fix it, solve it. All we have to do is witness it, honor it. Sounds like it's a pretty rough time. How can I support you? Toss your agenda aside. Remember, people buy to the level they feel seen and heard. Your only job is to help people feel seen and heard. And I know you want to talk about that gift, or I know you want to talk about that event sponsorship. But if they're like pushed up against the wall on a deadline or whatever, they're not going to be able to really connect with what you want to talk about. They're just not in a position. And the more that you push it, the more they're going to struggle and push back. Say, hey, this doesn't sound like it's not a great time. Is there anything I can help you with right now? If you can be of service to them, do. If not, just reschedule. So that's no mode. Then there's slow mode. Slow is the contemplative time. Now, my story about the travel agent, I was in slow mode. That means I need more information. I'm thinking about it and I don't have enough information quite yet to make a decision. I do want to make a decision. I just don't have enough information at this time. Or I want to consult with somebody else, again, to get more information. Now, here's the thing. Here's the tricky part about the slow space. Because sometimes people say, let me think about it and get back to you, or send me something over and I'll take a look at it. But they really mean no, they just don't know how to say it. So when somebody says, let me think about it and get back to you, it's your job to discern, do they really need no, or is it there specific things they want to think about? There's a couple of things that you can do to help you discern that. First is you can say, that sounds great. I'm so happy you're thinking about this. What are some of the things that you're thinking about? Is there anything I can help you with right now? Well, I need to talk to my spouse, or I got to go to my board, or whatever it is. I need to take this to the philanthropy committee, or okay, all right, okay, great. Or they'll say, well, yeah, I just want to think about it. All right. So if they give you a reason of, their of the exact logistics or whatever they're working through, then great. I'd love for them. Like, there's going to be somebody enrolled in my course. And she said, I want to think about it because I need to figure out childcare for the last half hour. I go pick up the kids on these days, and I just got to make sure my husband can do that on the days I'm in your course. Absolutely. Because I want you to be present there. So yes, so sometimes people need to legit think about stuff. And then other times they're not. They're just saying, hey, let me think about it. So that's one way, just to ask them what they're thinking about, what the issues on the table are. The second is you want to set the follow-up meeting inside the meeting. This is almost always will allow the people who are truly considering what you have to offer, the gift, the proposal, the sponsorship, or whatever, and they will book that second meeting. And you can say, I'm so excited that you're thinking about this. Please take this to your team. Why don't we set up a call next week and we can see where you are in your decision-making process? Or why don't we set up a call for the day after your team meets, and we can see we can see what's going on. If they push back and they say, well, I don't know, like, listen, it's okay. If this isn't for you, that's totally fine. Just let me know right now, and it's no big deal. And if it is, then let's put something on the calendar so we don't have to chase each other down later. We can always move it if we have to. Okay. And if people are truly interested, they will book the second meeting. They will. So that is the other way that you can honor, because we want to honor that they need more information while not giving away our power and letting them stall the process. I have to tell you that, I do this big summit every January. And my summit, this really big deal. And I book speakers, and I had a speaker. I had somebody who I had a call with them, and in this call, my memory was that he said, yes, I want to do it. And I said, awesome, blah, blah, blah. And then I sending him some follow-up emails, and he's not getting back to the team that works with me on this. And they're like, he's not getting back to me. And I said, hey, is everything okay? He said, well, I said to you that I'd think about it and get back to you. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry for the miscommunication. That's no problem. Thanks for considering it. And, appreciate you letting me know now. And I went ahead and booked somebody else, because the one thing for sure I didn't say is, yeah, go ahead and think about it and get back to me, because I just don't do that. Right. I don't do that. And anybody who's been on a call for me, because I know there's people listening to this podcast right now, like, yes, absolutely. You book the next call. And if he would have said, let me think about it, I would have said, awesome. Let's talk again next week and see where you are. Because I need people to make a decision, right? Because I've got to fill this lineup, which brings me to mindset number 3, which is go. So we have no, slow, go. Go is a sense of urgency. I need to get something done. Check off the box, check the list. Boom, boom, boom. I got to clean the house. Like, right. That's urgency. And your heart rate's up and the beat. And when you meet people who are in urgency, you got to honor their urgency. I had a call. I'll never forget this call. It's been a long time, but I still remember. And I was connecting with someone that I'd worked on a project like many years ago, and he was in this new capacity, and I was super excited to connect with him, and blah, blah. He was so great. And I was really excited to see him. And he comes on, and I knew from the beginning, oh, he is in go mode. This guy, it's bordering on no mode, right? Like he could have gotten overloaded, but he was like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, oh, okay. And I wanted to say, hey, how are you? And maybe walk down memory lane, reconnect a little bit, but I didn't. I got straight to what I wanted to talk with him about. We had a really quick, tight, productive conversation, and I ended 5 minutes early because I knew that's what he'd love, because I knew he was in go mode. Anytime you meet go mode, you just have to match their urgency. Remember, people will buy to the level they feel seen and heard. If I try to ignore it, slow it down, take that trip down memory lane, how I pass, I haven't seen you since we worked on that project 10 years ago. Or how many years was that, right? Oh, yeah, blah, blah. Tell me what you've been doing since then. No, he'd been like, nothing. Okay, and then let's get to it. So I honored his sense of urgency. I got right to the questions that I had. I set up the conversation. We had it. It was perfect. And then I let him go because I was able to read the room. The last mode is glow mode. Glow mode is when you just connect with somebody, and it's easy and it's effortless, and they love you and you love them, and they're ready to buy and you're ready to sell, and everything's aligned. That donor that you just love working with, and you just become this version of your higher self, and you're just operating like it's almost like you're floating. And I know when it happens, because when it happens, it feels amazing, right? Oh gosh. When somebody's in glow mode, when they're like, I've decided, I'm confident, I'm ready, you ask for what you want. This is not the time to hesitate. Ask for what you want. Make that deal, because that's the perfect place for people to be. I'm hoping you can't hear this, but we had big storms. I live in St. Louis. We had big storms the last couple of weeks, and there's a huge tree in the neighbor's backyard that they are cutting down today. My dogs are going crazy, and I don't know if you can hear that buzzsaw, but I tried to it's a big tree. I got to get out a podcast this week, so I just had to roll with it, because they're going to be going at this for a few days now. Anyway, and I'm really excited because we're gonna have a whole much more light in my backyard and I'm gonna be able to grow the grass. Yay. Okay. So we have know, slow, go, and glow. And what's important is to honor and honor the mindset, because we don't have to absorb it. I don't have to get into struggle mode. I don't have to solve people's problems. I just have to honor where people are at. And I have to speak to that. It sounds like you really want to make a decision today, right? If somebody's in urgency, it sounds like you've got a lot going on. Let me get right back to business. Sounds like you may be struggling. Would you like to reschedule this call? It sounds like you need some time to think. Why don't we set up a time to talk next week? It sounds like this is a great idea. And why don't we just go ahead and get started? Because, right? So you can call out what you see. Now, let's say somebody's in go mode, you're on a team and you're in slow mode. You can say to them, I sense how important it is for you to make a decision or for you to get some stuff done. I can see that. And also, I need some more information. So could and once I have that, I'm happy to make a decision. So it's just, even if you're not in the place that they are, it's just important to say what you see. First of all, to make sure you got it right, which typically you do. But second, so that they know that they know that you get where they're at and where their mind is at. Because again, what is it? People will buy to the level they feel seen and heard. Your only job is to help people feel seen and heard. Once they do, they relax. And when they relax, they'll be open to what you have to say. And it is hard sometimes. It is hard to set your agenda aside. It's hard to set that conversation aside and really tap into what's going on. You feel like, wait, I'm getting off track. Don't let your mind tell you that story, because that story is not true. Your story is to serve people. When I'm of value to you, you'll be of value to me. All I have to worry about is being of value. And I know it will come back to me. And I can tell you the time that I wasn't of value to somebody, it did not come back to me. And it was a great lesson for me to learn. Now, here's one thing I want to share with you that I think is really important. When I train people on how to have these, what I call connection conversations, like these establishing conversations, if you don't know somebody very well, and this is what I train the boards to do. When I talk about my lead gen, I'm training them on these conversations. Really, any conversation you're going to have, it always starts with rapport. Hey, how are you? Blah blah blah. What's going on? Now, here's the thing about rapport is you can get stuck in it, right? And now you're just chatting, and you're waiting for that time to say, oh, I can't wait. I would love to talk to you about your annual gift. And the more you're in rapport, the harder it is for you to stop that and move to business, because now you're afraid of breaking rapport. You're afraid, like, oh, now it's going to get tense and weird. So the key to rapport is do not stay there very long. And you want to take command of the conversation almost immediately and set the stage for what you want to have happen. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for meeting with me. How are the kids? Blah, blah, blah. I saw your daughter got accepted to this college. You must be so proud. That's so great. Oh, that's amazing. Wow, that's so great for you. Congratulations. Okay, that's great. And I'm so glad we're here, because what I'd love to talk about today is your annual gift. And before we get back, excuse me, and before we get to that, tell me what's going on besides, of course, that wonderful college story. Tell me what's going on in your life and what's happening in your business. I just want to hear a little bit from you. Now, do you see what I did there? I took it from rapport and I set the stage. So now we can talk about life and business and all of those things, but it's got context, right? I've already set the stage that eventually we're going to talk about, hey, I love, and first let's get to this. You can even do it even do it deeper, which is like, I'm so glad you're here. What I'd like to talk about today is your annual gift. And first I want to hear from you and everything that's going on with you. And then I'll share a little bit of the needs of our organization this year. And then we can decide, what your gift looks like from there. Why don't you tell me what's going on with you? And so I said, hey, we're going to talk about your annual gift. I want to hear from you first. And then I'll talk about our organization, some needs. And then we can decide what's going on. So I've shifted it, right? From, hey, I got to pull this up to, we're going to set that expectation up front. So now after they go and they tell you all, you say, okay, that's great. Is there anything else you want to share with me? That's good. Okay. And now I'd love to share with you some of the needs of our organization. Great. Okay. Now what are you thinking? What is, Or, and I'm not going to get too deep into this because I have different podcasts on that. But what you're listening for an opening, or some of the needs that you had can meet their needs. Either way, you show up as a leader to the conversation. A couple of minutes of rapport, and then you set that stage for the conversation of what you'd like to have happen, and then you follow that template that you laid out for them. That helps them relax because now they know what's coming next. Your job in that rapport in that first 1 or 2 minutes is to read that mindset. Are they in struggle mode, slow mode, go mode, glow mode? You may not get all the information you want up front, but I'm telling you, if they're in struggle, for sure, you're going to know it. If they're in no mode, you're going to know it right away. Don't ignore what's in front of you. Speak the unspoken. Call attention to what's happening around you. It seems like you're a little frustrated that you feel like you don't have enough information to make this decision. How can I help you? Like, it seems like it's really important to you to book this today, or to decide this today. I'm happy to help you with that. It seems like this isn't a great time to have this conversation. Is there anything I can help you with in whatever's happening? And if you can be of service, great. If not, just reschedule the call. Like, absolutely, that is no problem. They're going to be so grateful. Maybe they're sick, and maybe, there's all kinds of crap that's going on. And so remember, no, slow, go, glow, honor it. You don't have to adapt it. You don't have to become it. All you have to do is honor it, speak to it, and allow that to guide you. When I center other people and their needs, my needs will be met. And that's all you have to worry about. And I promise you, when people feel seen and heard, they relax. And when they relax, they're going to be open to what you have to say. You can't bypass this. You can only honor it. And those are the 4 mindsets and how they can help you navigate a conversation. If you want to learn more about what it's like to work with me, I train people in all kinds of amazing ways in order to grow their leadership and their influence, to get people they have no authority over to do what they want them to do. And I bet there's a lot of people in your life that you have no authority over. I take my Up-Level Your Influence course. These are the things that we work on. And we really go deep, and you will really learn these skills of how to have more productive and meaningful conversations where you are speaking more of what's actually happening and less encoded and inefficient, ineffective language. All right. And if you're interested in learning about my Up-Level Your Influence course or my lead gen training for boards, there's a link in the bio, a quickie call with me. I'm happy to spend 15 minutes with you talking about what your needs are and see if I can fulfill them. If I can't, I will make sure I can send you to some resource that will be of service to you if I cannot be. And so you can grab that link or in the show notes, and I'm happy to connect with you. And that's it for this episode of The Influential Nonprofit. I will see you next week.